Welcome back to Relationship Rescue. I'm your host, Valery Molone, and today's episode is unlike anything we've done before. We're diving deep into the cosmic side of relationships with the one and only Debra Silverman, renowned astrologer, therapist, and truth teller with a personality as powerful as her insights. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same type of partner? Why communication breaks down even when you think you're being clear? Or why some relationships feel faded? Deborah's here to explain how your astrological chart holds the answers, yes, really, to your relationship patterns, communication style, and emotional needs. And let me tell you, she doesn't hold back. Whether you're a full on astrology lover or a total skeptic, you're going to walk away from this episode with a whole new understanding of yourself and your love life. Let's jump in. Hey, Deborah, thank you so much for being here with me today.
That's my pleasure.
Yes. I'm going to start with asking you, how did you get into astrology and how do you kind of blend in astrology with psychology so uniquely?
It's there's so many times I get asked this question. I was very, very young, so it was a destiny line. I can't say like I had this teacher and then it was just like I could never get away from it since I was 10 years old when it first appeared. And I've been studying it ever since, and I'm almost 70, so it's been a very long,
Yeah.
long exercise of deep inquiry, drilling down, follow through, and I got to the place where I got kind of good at it. So and I say that because so many people don't know what they're here to do. And this is a universal song on this planet. Like, why am I here? And what am I supposed to be doing? And how do I find my calling? Well, that is astrology's function. But lucky for me, I didn't need that part of its function. I was here more to become a practitioner. And then I went to graduate school for clinical psychology. And every time a client would come in and tell me what was wrong with them, I was like, I have your chart here. Nothing's wrong with you. You're just making up stories about why you don't like yourself. So, as you know, in the first half of my book, the whole book is about the gremlins that come and nibble on you, but it wasn't true. So, I kept reframing for people the part of their character they didn't like. And then there was this revelation, like a really deep freedom came. And that's when I realized, oh, astrology and psychology are best friends.
Right, because your book, I don't believe in astrology. Number one, I love the name. How did you come up with that name?
Because everybody kept saying that to me. It was pissing me off. Everywhere I'd go, I don't believe in astrology. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to write a book for all the people that don't believe in astrology.
Make that clear because I said that I said to myself, I bet she was talking to people and they're like, I don't believe in astrology, and then she's like, oh yeah, well let me write a book about it. And when you read, which by the way, for our listeners, I just want to let you know, I read your book and I read my own sign and I was like, my God, can she be any more accurate than this? It was so accurate.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah, and like I told you, I believe in astrology, but I don't know much about it. So that's why it was very interesting to me. And come back to the point of, like you said, psychology and astrology. You're like explaining everything in such a lightweight that people can understand, read it, and enjoy it, and understand themselves. That's what I like about this book.
Right, exactly. I did that. You nailed it. I was trying for both the advanced people because there's a lot of people that have been studying, but they didn't get the foundational interpretations that bring a high road. I'm always looking for the high road, as you know from the book. There's low road
Mhm.
and high road.
Right.
So yeah, the book was really, and I say this at the very end of the book, I didn't really want to do it. I was
Mhm.
introduced by several publishers, kept calling me because I'm an OG. I found out the original gangster. Um, and then finally, I surrendered and I wrote the book with the intention that I would support the absolute simplicity, not the complication, not the jargon, but the application. So that's why the book is useful because it's not, and that's so you in your chart. I'm looking at your chart. You're all about practicality. So
Yes.
if things aren't practical, you're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I loved it because, like I said, I was reading it. I was like, oh my God, that's so me. But I'm sure I really highly recommend my listeners to read it. And we're going to obviously put your book in there because it is so accurate and it matters so much. And the other point that I got from your book is that for me, it was eye opening because I think when you're reading your book, it's not only you learn about yourself, but you understand people. Why
Totally.
why they do what they do. Can you tell me a little bit what was going through your mind when you
Well,
were?
It's the psychology. I mean, I'm the person that goes to the airport that stares at people. I have a really serious problem with nosy and fascinated, and social media is driving me nuts because I can never stop listening to stories. I have an insatiable appetite. So astrology is that. How do you understand human nature? How do you make sense of the things that bug you? How do you find your strengths? Like if
Mm.
you don't know your strength, how are you going to get there? So it's simply the value of studying this. To me, it's everything. It's the oldest science on earth, brought to us 4,000 years ago in Egypt. You can see the hieroglyphics. Why was it brought to us so long ago? To hope, which it didn't work, that we would have compassion for the diversity of all the countries, all the cultures, all the colors, all the sexuality. Like this is astrology, is the uniqueness, is your strong point. It's your strength. It's what makes this place interesting. But for some reason, I like the people that are like me, and I'm not interested in you. Like, really? That really where you want to live? Is that how you want your kids to grow up? So I've challenged by using astrology as this like kind of bubblegum toy store fun factor, but it goes deep. It goes really deep.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you talk about the four elements. I want to know, what is the four element in astrology and how do they shape our personality?
So this is my very first book, which was called The Missing Element, and it's no astrology whatsoever, but it's basically the four personality types. So I'm going to describe them. I'm looking at your chart, and you have no water. I don't know if you knew that, but I will describe the four elements, and then you'll see what I mean. So let's start with fire. Fire personalities, big personalities, loud, show-offs. They're the physical, they're athletic, they party, they drink, they spend too much. They're like, oh, where's the fun factor? And they wear bright colors and they have a really strong, energetic, and they become a little offensive. These are the kids that need to go outside and play all the time because they're so ants in their pants and they're always needing energy. So fire people at their low level are attention grabbers and they have to be center stage and they have a real need for people's feedback as compared to the right use of fire is inspiring people and being the example and encouraging people. Okay, so let's do the second element is Earth. I'm going backwards today for some reason because you're an Aquarian. Earth are the practical. You have a lot of this in your chart. They're practical, they're grounded, they count money, they do spreadsheets, they're reliable, they're on time. They can't stand those fire people. They're like, can you tone it down? Earth people are trying to control and give structure and give rules, and fire people are like, who cares? They're loud and funny and playful. So you can see the contrast. And the Earth people, workaholics, never enough, feel like they're not doing enough, don't feel like they look good. There is a constant critic where the fire one's like, woohoo, I'm having so much fun. Like they're looking in the mirror wherever they go. So that's the contrast of fire to earth. Then comes air, which is what you and I are. They're thinkers and they're talkers and they read the books and they underline the books and they have books, but they don't finish the books, but they have ideas and they take classes and they don't finish the classes and they forget where they're going. And where was I going? What was I talking about? Where's my phone? They're airheads. So distinct from earth people who are super grounded and make everyone responsible, air people are like socially so adept and they're so funny and charming and they're so fun to listen to and they write and they talk and they think and you're like, is there an off button? Like, do you have to keep talking? So they have the gift of the gab. And then the last category, which is one you're missing, is water. And they're the really sensitive people who want to be alone and they're really quiet and they want to be inside and they don't want people to come over and they want to cook and stay home. And they really cry at the stupidest thing. Everything touches them and they're moody and they're emotional and they're like, why me? And you're like, get a life. Like they really get caught in the emotional sticky stuff where they're moody and they're vulnerable. And you want to say to them, you need to get out of the house. But they love their bedroom and they love their slippers and they love their comfort. They love their animals and their children and their house. And the fire person's like, oh my God, don't put me near the water person who's staying in the house all day, not a fire person. So these four personality types exist in one person. Like you're not just one of those. You're comfortable in your fire, bold. You're comfortable in your earth money. You're comfortable in your air relationships and you're comfortable in your sensitivity. That's the goal of the game. But we don't have language for this. And that's why my first book, The Missing Element, is so important because first, before you even study astrology, get to know the elements. And then when you go study astrology, you go, oh, for example, Valerie, you're double earth. So even though you're Aquarius, you have a high value for practicality,
Mhm.
like
Uh-huh.
being on time, being responsible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was just gonna ask you, so if I don't have the water, is that means that I'm less emotional or I do not understand people emotion?
That's it. So it goes one of two ways. If you're missing an element, either God said, don't give her any more. She did this in a past life. She's so good at crying. We can't get her to cry anymore because she's done that all the last life. Or this life, she doesn't understand crying. She doesn't understand people's emotions and she wants them all to get over it. So you have to decide which level. Like, are you highly emotional and you've learned that you have to maintain it and control it? Or are you cold and you can't feel? That would be a question.
I'm more the other side. I don't cry. I'm more like because I have two daughter and when they cry, I have a Gemini and Taurus. So Gemini cries over drop of a hat. So I'm like, what are you crying about? But after reading your book, it makes so much sense because I don't have that. I don't see their emotional side because I see
That's
the better
right.
version of them. So I'm almost like eager to say like, oh, don't cry over this because if you could see what I see, you're gonna be better.
Exactly. That's
That's
that's because you have no water. So you're like, what are you doing? Don't worry about it.
right.
But they
Yeah,
can't stop. I mean, with the stupid little emotional body, it can take you over. So good catch. Yes. If you're missing an element, it's either you don't have it or you had too much of it and you have to figure that out. But
on your
that's
own.
that's the that's the simple part of astrology. That's just the personality type. It gets really interesting when you find out where is your moon and where is your Mercury and how does your mind work and what is the nature of your love, Venus, and what's your life lesson this lifetime? Like all the most important questions in the world live inside of.
Okay, so I don't have my sun or rising moon and stuff. I send you my chart because I don't know the time of my birth. So what
Oh,
am
you have
I?
no idea what time you were born?
No, I put a 12 because you just recommended to put
Oh,
12
I
p.m.
see. Okay. Well, your sun is in Aquarius and your moon's in Virgo. That we know for sure. But
Okay.
we don't know what time you were born. I had it written as noon, so I'm looking at this. But if you don't know what time you're born, you don't know what your rising sign is, but you definitely have moon in Virgo, which means you love details. And you look at her.
Oh,
You
okay.
like to write things down as she's writing things down.
I am
You're
such.
deep. Yeah, you have to write everything down and you have to make sure everything's organized.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Because that is the part that I didn't know about. When I learned about astrology, and I had somebody in my podcast before, and I figured if I don't know the time of my birth, then there we go. I can't really do
You can
much with
still
it.
no, you can you still we still know where the moon was on February 2nd. That's you can I know for sure your moon's in Virgo, and I know for everything I know everything but your rising sign. So you can still look at astrology without the time.
I want to go back to the element. I listened to you one part, and you give us such a good example of a fire, earth, air, and water. That you see a guy, he's hot. I'm gonna have sex with him. Then I gotta be like earth, well, your place, my place. Then after that, I'm sorry, what's your name? Then after that, you get up at the next day. What the fuck did I do?
That is going the wrong direction. You're exactly right. That is the wrong direction. The right
Okay.
direction is that's because they started with fire. You're hot and I want to fuck you. But the other side of that story would be starting with water and going, hold on a minute, I got a funny feeling. Then you get to air and you go, can you just tell me what you do or who you are? Then you get to earth, you have dinner and you're like, by the time you get to the end of dinner, you're like, you're fired. And that's the fire. Like, I don't want to do this again. But if you jump in the deep end into fire at the beginning, instead of starting in water, it's a problem.
So is it good to kind of keep that in mind when we make a decision
Oh,
in life?
100%. And everything, I run a business.
Right, right, right.
Everything I do is based on the elements and noticing my rhythm. Because there's certain cycles we go through. I'm teaching a class this summer by Shift Network. I'm doing two different classes this summer. One is on simply the progressed moon, which, by the way, you are in a major change right now this month
Wow.
as we speak. Yes, you are in a major change. You're going to get your health issues going to call your name. You're going to want to start getting a little more detailed about what you need to do. You're finishing collaborating and working with people. Now you really want to focus. It's just changing now. Can you feel it?
I do. I do. I actually do. I'm
And
so
that's
glad
what
you
I'm
said that.
teaching. So you don't need to know your time for that, but that's what I'm teaching this summer. Is a class on the progressions and it describes cycles and eras. And you happen to be doing this interview at the exact time it's changing. It changes every 2.5 years, and it's this month.
Wow.
You're in a major change. But I'm teaching that class this summer in our school. It's through our school. And then I'm also teaching a class on the tarot in October, where I'm doing
Okay.
the tarot and astrology and how they're best friends that no one ever tells you.
So
So
what is that?
Well,
Tarot?
this is the craziest thing. The tarot is those cards that came in the 15th century in Europe. They
Okay.
were a set of cards that eventually became regular playing cards, but they started off as a divination tool. And there was 22 major arcana, the very top cards, like the most important ones. And they left 12 out for the 12 signs and 10 for the 10 planets, but they hadn't found Pluto till 1930, and this was in the 15th century. So it was a crazy system that they knew in the future what was going to happen. And they use these cards with astrology to divinate, to give future, to be prophetic. And I've gotten obsessed with them. So this is the first I'm announcing at your podcast. I'm teaching a tarot class in, I want to say it's in November. Our school, we also, you would love is we have a school. Do you know
Okay.
about? So it starts in September or in January, and you do 6 weeks studying your chart.
Wow.
And there's only 10 people in the circle. So your chart comes on the screen and it does, we can find out what time you're born. There's also someone on my team who's called Sharon Lear, and she can interview you for an hour, know the date of your children's birth, know when you moved here, all of that, and she can tell you what time you were born.
Wow. That is so and these classes are online or
They're all online, every single
oh
thing.
wow, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So it's easy for people to get it. Um,
Yes.
what is the biggest misconception when it comes to astrology?
That it's superficial. That's why I called the book I Don't Believe in Astrology. How dare people think that something that lasted over 4,000 years? My grandmother knew what sign she was. It stays in the zeitgeist. Why? Because it's real. But the misconception is it's dippy and it's parlor trick and it's something in the back. No, no. It's absolutely powerful and real, and it has a medicine for us. It is how we cultivate compassion.
Do you think that people are understanding it more now than they did before?
100%. It's everywhere. I find it so funny because as you know, I'm getting older. And when I was younger and I was in graduate school in the 80s, probably before people were born, most people in this room, I found out that they were so resistant. My graduate studies, they were like, you are not studying astrology. That was like like they were so resistant. But the truth is, Carl Jung, who was the original psychiatrist, Carl Jung and Freud was how we started this movie. He was an astrologer. And he was quoted to say, or psychology will be a dinosaur science until it includes astrology. So
Astrology.
he was using it all through his whole practice, as I am. But the misconception, such a great question, is somewhere somebody made up a story that it was superficial or fake, or I don't know. I really don't know why people don't believe in it. It's so confusing to me.
I know, I know. 'Cause people that are like looking at, I think people that are like most like a scientist, but even with the science, it's just really
It's based
comparable.
on
Yeah,
astronomy. It's based on astronomy.
yeah.
It's the one thing in this existence that's consistent. We know where the moon is today, no matter where you are on the planet, and it will stay the same. It's been predictable and consistent, the planetary movements from the beginning of time. So why not lean into something stable since this world is so out of control right now?
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. You're right. What is your take on comparability and a relationship using astrology?
Well, it's very helpful to know who you're sitting next to. I mean, every employee I have, every partner I have, every relationship, my kids, I mean, it's like a joke. I have to know their chart because then it gives me permission to say to your Gemini daughter, okay, you're going to cry again. Okay. And then the Taurus daughter, you need me to slow down. Okay. Like you have to know their rhythms. And when you do, you become a great mom, a great partner, a great wife.
I got your book and then I literally made my daughter sit down and read because she's like, they're young adults, so they're into their 30s. I literally said, you have to sit down and read my signs so you can understand me. She said, Mom, you have to do the same thing. And we actually did. We read each other's sign. So now when she calls me, it's the funniest thing. Now she calls me, she's like, I know you're fast. I know you know what I'm always already gonna say, but can you please listen?
I love that. Oh, that's such a good story. Do you have stars on your chest?
Yes, I do.
You're an astrologer in disguise. You would love that class. The beginner class, level one, that starts in September or January, is such an easy access for people like you that kind of flirt with it, but haven't really gone deep. And or someone who's been studying forever and they can't put it together. Come to
Yeah.
our class. We have a really cool school.
I definitely check it out because this star was like my grandma used to always say, reach for the star. So I always said to myself, if I want to reach for the star, and I put three, one for me and the other two for my two daughters.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Inspired by your grandmother.
Yes, but I definitely told my daughters to read, and I keep telling my friends, and I'm like, you have to read this book because in order for you to understand each other, we have to read this book. But when it comes to romantic relationship, and I know a lot of astrologers talk about compatibility, that how they have to be comparable with each other, and I'm sure in a basic level they know what their comparable partner can be. But what is the basic sign is important, or the element, or their moon, or their rising?
Good
What is?
question. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, Cupid doesn't know astrology, so she has no idea. She just pulls that thing back and you're in love and you're like, whoops, they gave me the wrong sign. So that's the first issue. It's
Okay.
karma. There's people that are put into your court, they're put into your sphere because you're supposed to meet them because that's part of your karma. As far as compatibility, it's always the same. Like you and I are both air. So we immediately get along because we talk at the speed of light and we have a million questions and we're going to move. But if you weren't like your daughter, the Taurus, you're like, how long is this conversation going to take? It's a different compatibility issue. So the Gemini daughter can move at your pace, but the Taurus daughter is going to be a lot slower. And once you know that,
Mhm.
compatibility is compassion because you can't change someone's character, even though every woman I know wants to change her husband.
Absolutely. Now, should they like say, "Oh, I'm not comparable with this person, and I don't want to change. I have to go with the somebody that I'm comparable." Do you recommend that, or no? Like, you
It
know what? It
depends.
doesn't matter.
It depends on the karma involved. If you meet someone where you are irresistibly falling in love and it's one of those sticky things where you're like out of control, danger. Because that just means you're getting into a chemical game where you
Right.
just fell in love and you're going to be useless at the end of it because you didn't consider. If you're using astrology, absolutely like there's no one that I would date that I if I didn't have their chart, I wouldn't even talk to them. I
Wow.
I will not, even people I hire, even people that where was I just the other day? I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't talk to you. I need to see your chart. Oh yeah. I was having a dinner with this new friend and I just said to her, I'm so sorry. I can't, I just need to understand you so I can accept. It's for me, as you can imagine, after 50 years, I can see a chart, immediately know the personality type and permission to let them be who they are.
Wow. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. I heard that Jennifer Lopez fired one of her worker because I believe she don't like Virgos.
That's not very
That
nice.
is really not nice. Let's talk about your observer. You talk about that. What is that, and how should people be aware of it?
I love that question so much. Um, It's the essence of both my books, The Missing Element and I Don't Believe in Astrology, and all of my school, everything I teach. If you can't this is what astrology does. It takes you up off the planet, and then you look over at the characters with this lens called diversity. Like, oh, I can see how different you are. Oh, I can understand that. So that's called the observer. The observer is not just applied in astrology, it's every single day when you notice that you're saying mean things to yourself, when you notice that you are impatient, when you notice that you're feeling emotional, the observer comes out and goes, oh my God, Deborah, like it talks to you like a mom would without making you wrong. So the observer is, I call it Switzerland. It's
Mm.
neutral, it stands still. You learn it, it's a muscle. It's an exercise, it's just like working out at the gym. Like, oh, if my observer's on, right before I get mad at the kids, right when I was going to scream at them, on comes my observer, like, oh, I'm so pissed off. And I call myself out and I go, you guys, I am so upset right now. I know I probably shouldn't talk because my observer just got me out of the direct experience. So it's a spiritual practice. It's not the critic. It's not giving you feedback as far as good or bad. It's simply reporting like a reporter would, like, oh, you're really late and you're getting yourself all anxious. Can you take a breath? That's what the observer, it's the mom energy that says, would you calm down? And as soon as you have that freedom to have your observer on, you're liberated. You're not captured by your ego.
Right. It's almost like a directing you in a right way without you thinking too much. Now, how do you turn on your observer? What is there a practice you
We
have
could
to?
do it right now. We could do it right now. So just imagine right now, everyone that's listening, wherever you are or watching, stop and put a camera on to the right of you so you can see your profile and you can see that side of the room. Now put the camera over there on the left of you, and now you can see this profile, and now you can see that. Now put the camera behind your head so it sees you sitting in front of the computer, and now put the camera in front of the computer, seeing what you're wearing, the colors, who you are. So you step out of the story You turn on your observer, what you witness from a distance, and you neutralize any narration. Oh, you're so lazy. Oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're so lonely. Oh, no, no, no. Just I'm noticing I'm sitting in front of a computer. And that neutrality, that calm changes your inner emotional body. So there's no anxiety, there's no fear, there's no urgency, there's no anxiety, like all that anxious. It's just the observer says, you know what, can everybody stop? Just like we just did.
Mm.
And then everything changes. And it's so powerful when it becomes the elder, said the elder here, it gives me the gift to walk into a room and just watch. I'm not urgent. I'm not in a rush. I'm not reactive. I'm not impulse. I'm just It's a very calm position, and it allows people in every relationship and every situation to be the one in the room that says, "Oh, the world is changing and it's really scary and politics are insane and the environment is scary and oh my God, what's going on in the Middle East?" And then you just say to yourself, "Hold on a minute. Let me take a breath and put my awareness on and realize I could add to this situation by getting neurotic and loud and complain, or I could be the calm one in the room that goes, listen, it's okay. We're okay in this moment. Here we are in this here and now." And it just brings you right into the here and now.
Mm. I feel like lately people are more aware, even though the technology advancing, but people are getting more in touch with their observer and with their spirit and with their own self versus like you would think that with the coming of AI and everything would be, we still from the ego perspective, we still do that. But do you feel that people are more grounded now than it was 10 years ago?
Yes, it's not more grounded because there's a definite anxiety increase and depression, and you don't have this. Your life lesson is Taurus. So this lifetime, you should read about Taurus. You came in to go slow, which is not your nature. It's
Mhm.
completely antithesis to your nature. You came in to learn about stability and practicality and consistency. That's not also very Aquarian at all. So the point of that is when you learn your nature, this is why you guys have to read the book. The first thing you want to go look for is what's your life lesson? Saturn. Saturn is the life lesson.
Mhm.
Yours is Taurus. So when you say it's more grounded, that's who you are. You bring that everywhere you go. You're always trying to get everything to slow down. Now, it's not your nature.
Right.
When things go wrong, you're going to be the girl that goes, hold on, I need a list. I got to write shit down. Me, my Saturn's in Sagittarius. When everything goes wrong, I'm the one going, excuse me, I get bossy. And it becomes very clear for me because I'm fire. My life lesson's fire. So this is the simplest part of astrology. Where is your life lesson? What element? The first thing you learn is the element.
Right.
Then you discover, oh, Saturn. Saturn is the planet of teaching us the lessons of why we even incarnated. Like you have to ask yourself, what are we doing on planet Earth during this crazy era when everything
Mm.
feels so chaotic and AI is on its way in? Well, because there's a purpose for that. That's what astrology suggests. There's no random order. God's not playing with dice. Einstein said it. This is a real system that is being, astrologers know without a question how organized this is. It's impeccable. But the mind and the ego is like, no, it's not. This place is horrible and you're horrible and my dad was horrible. Like, okay, you stick with that ego. I'm going to come over here with my observer and learn about my life lesson and we'll see who's happier at the end of the movie.
Do you think it's, I feel like, tell me if that sounds selfish, that I feel like people that are in this era and we are in about changing revolution completely and we're chose to actually come here because we know.
Of course. You're so Aquarian. That's 100% yes. No, this is a volunteer position. You don't come to Earth because you got pushed on the bus. They asked you, do you want to go take an assignment? And you were like, I can't wait. They were like, okay, weird parents coming up first thing. Then you're going to
Mm,
have that little body that you're going to not like, or you're going to, oh, that was a body. That was ridiculous. Then comes the body that celebrates because we had to eat. Like last night, we were saying this over and over again at dinner. Angels can't taste, they can't make love.
right. Right.
So why did all the confetti just come out? Because to have a body, do you know how the angels envious the angels are that you get to go every day and eat and smell the coffee and smell the wine and taste that delicious food and the dessert and the whipped cream? Are you kidding me? The angels
Yeah.
were like, why do you think there's 8 billion people here? Because they were all like, can we go down? I want to go down and experience that crazy place. And then you get down here, like, I was just kidding. Do I really wanna be here? Uh-oh.
It really is. It really is because I always feel like depending on who you're talking to, because some people feel like, okay, well, I didn't sign for this, especially if they're going through rough time, especially if there's something's happening in their life. If you tell them that you're here voluntarily, you signed for this, and out of all this time, and they're like, I don't deserve this. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But it really is. I personally believe it is.
100% true, and once you align, that's the observer.
Yeah.
The observer steps back and goes, hold on a minute, before I start complaining, and before I start wishing the first husband just never showed up, and before the kid just gets me all upset, hold on a minute." And you take a breath. This is the observer, and you go, "If it's true that I chose to be here," just try it on, you guys. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you're interested. If it's true that I chose this and this karma exactly as it is, with my body's aches and pains, with my husband's aches and pains, with my no husband, too many husbands, children, whatever your storyline is, it was written. Now, if you can assume the position that there's an intelligence here, said the astrologer, that's brilliant, brought to us by, look, here's all my stars over my head.
Wow.
If you could believe that you signed up for this and volunteered, that minute the whole thing changes. And that's where the gremlins and the negativity and all those internal dialogue that the first half of the book is about goes away. Because
Hmm.
now you're like, oh, I love my life, even though fill in the blank, whatever your storyline is, it's bugging you. And if that can occur because you figured out your chart, then I did my job.
Absolutely, because I interviewed psychic medium, and she said that that we're assigned to be here, and that is one thing that she said. No matter what you're going through, you're going to be okay, and it's guaranteed you can handle it.
Exactly. You
Knowing that alone is just such a relief that no matter what situation, like our listeners right now, I'm sure they're having a financial problem or a relationship problem, whatever problem you're having, it's just a lesson, and you experiencing it, it will pass.
See, it's so easy for you to say. Your Aquarius is so advanced. Your chart is very advanced. You're someone that asks a million questions. You
Hmm.
never settle with what you get. You keep on going. You keep on creating. You're like you got a little bit of a crazy part in your chart.
I
You have,
do.
and you have Mars and Aries. So you're male energy. You're like, we got this. We got this. But other people don't. And that's why they love you, because you inspire us to get up and do it and stay positive. And you bring all these people onto your show that that have some conversation about the same. So if you don't have what you see here, like both of us have a lot of fire, Valerie and I carry fire.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it, and your water, which is sensitive, or your earth, which is burdened by your work, or your air, which is confused, or your fire's down, then you have to cultivate it. That's why the book's called The Missing Element. The
The
first,
missing out. Yeah.
yeah, go
Yeah.
figure out what's missing and then put it on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't know, Deborah, I was from the young age. I went through a lot of trauma, and I went through a lot of stuff, being in the country that I was, then I came, and I've never felt like, like I always like keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. And sometime when I say that, and it almost comes in as an arrogant, and when I look at, I don't have no regret. I'm like, okay, it was. I passed it. I lived it. It was horrible. People look at it and say, like, oh my God, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know.
It's your will. That's Aquarius. You have very, very strong will. And you have Mars and Aries. Your male energy, Mars is the red planet in the sky. You have
Yeah.
you have it, and it's in a fire sign. So you're like, we're going for this. And not everyone has that. So you came in this lifetime to teach us to be a role,
Yeah.
and it's working. That's why we're listening to you.
Yeah. And I also, the other thing that I really, really, really do, and you tell me if that's, and with the curious, I always look at good in people. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Sometime I remember when I was young, people told me like, you have a weird friend. I don't know. I don't look at them like that. I really look past that. And I'm like, if I'm here, if we're in the same earth, and if I'm here and you're here, that means something. I can't be more than you. Can't fucking be more than you.
So beautiful. You have Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is the sign of luck, that no matter what happens to you, you always bounce back up. So therefore, you have optimism. It gives you the optimistic angle to say, hey, you guys, but not everyone has that, which is why we get so excited about listening to you. I carry it too, Sagittarius. Like, this is fun. No matter how bad it gets, we still have something to learn here, right? And those people that keep the positive energy, like, you don't like that person, you can't really see them. I'll tell you who they are. We become the cheerleaders. And that's why
Yeah.
me too. I have the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not everyone has it. So
No,
this is why people listen to your podcast, because inspiration is what fire people do.
I do. And I also, sometimes my friends are like, so I see too positivity and they're like, just shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I feel like that too. And I'm like, okay, I need to shut up because I know I'm going overboard and I'm doing too much. So I even know that sometimes because they're like,
That's your observer.
yeah,
That's
you're
your
like, what are you, like high or something?
That is so Aquarius. I know, because you live in a different world where everything gets worked out and it's all positive, and no matter what happens, you're going to stand up again and you're so bouncy. And that's not everyone, but therefore you're contagious. And that's why fire people are so fun, because then we're so happy they're there because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
inspire us, but they're also obnoxious. Like there's
So
no off button.
yeah, absolutely. So this is why I wanted to talk to you about because I've never talked about this with anybody before. So when I started my podcast, my name of the podcast, I chose the podcast because like I said, I see people beyond their physical level of who they are. So inner power insights, and then we got a lot of question about the relationship, and I believe in that we have a relationship with everything. So I change it and say relationship rescue. Like literally, you have to be rescued with when it comes to every relationship, not just romantic relationship with yourself, relationship with your finance, with your work, with your children, all of that. And the reason I did that because I've never myself didn't have a good romantic relationship. And I don't think that like I'm in the past and I don't put that as a priority. And am I gonna contradict myself over here? But I love everything else. I put everything else first. When it comes to romantic relationship, it's okay.
Well, that's so sweet. I mean, that says so much about you. Do have Venus in a challenged position. It's interesting. Um it simply suggests what you just said is you've known your karma. That karma wasn't about romantic relationship for you. And there's nothing that's the thing that people get so confused. There's no good or bad karma.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of what you're learning this life. It's like having an assignment. You can't argue if you're supposed to have health issues and you're like, what did I do? Why do I have this bad knee? This is an opportunity to learn how to slow down. If you're in a long-term relationship that you're like, it's dead, it's kind of stale. This is what your karma is. Now you're going to make a choice to stay because unlikely you'll ever leave. Or you're single and your lifetime has not been about romance. This is not a good or bad. Let's stop. If we could all turn on our observer, my favorite line, observer on, and then just realize, oh, based on results, what's gone true for Valerie, she doesn't have a lot of energy for romantic relations. It doesn't call her name. And her moon's in Virgo. So her emotions, the moon, is very analytical and detached and independent. In the tarot deck, the moon in Virgo is the hermit card.
Okay.
There's a bit of you that wants to, don't bug me. Don't tell me what to do, said the Aquarius. That's the worst thing about it. You just nailed it. You guys couldn't see it if you're listening. Her face just lit up. Don't tell her what to do.
I don't know what it is.
You probably had a past life where you were in a very controlled marriage, or you were in a very controlled culture and you were like, no, I am not letting anyone do that again. And so this lifetime is about freedom.
Oh no, it was this in this life. It was in this life.
Oh, it did happen. Somebody
Oh
tried to.
yeah. Oh yeah. From where I come from, like I was telling my story that day, and I tell my story all the time and think I from the childhood, my family told me what to do, and my culture is supposed to do what they tell you to do. I hated it all the time, but you have to, otherwise you get ass whooping. And then after that, my marriage was arranged in a very young age. So after that, my husband was telling me what to do, and he was very abusive. So all of that put together made me who I am, and my karma, if you can say that, was to free myself from that and not hold a grudge and not be upset about that. And was like, you know what? I learned it. You can't tell me what to do. I'm moving forward. This is the life I want.
I wish everyone could just be you. If everyone just did what you just said. Thank you very much for the teaching. Got the lesson. I couldn't stand it. I stayed long enough to get out of it, and now I'm free. And thank you very much. Bye bye. If everyone just let go of that karmic imprint, because you guys, everyone comes in here. It's really hard at the beginning.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can be the best parent with my kids. You can be the best uh, wife, the best husband, but something's going to happen. It's in my book. Like you're built to learn by getting it wrong. The very first line of my book is, it's a
Yeah.
setup. You couldn't get this right if you wanted to.
Yeah. I love when you said that. I love when you said that. When I read it, I was like, okay, that is you out. Okay, I'm not wrong. Let me see what I messed up and what I need to learn,
Well,
what I how.
that's what planet Earth is. You come down here to get it wrong in order to get it right. That's how we do it down here. Now, I don't like that. Just send me a memo. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I don't need to get the wrong and the hurt and the stupid and the painful and the abuse and the, abandonment and all. I don't want all that, but that's clearly what the program is down here, and you can't change it. At the moment, we are going through a big change. As you
Okay.
Pluto is going to hit Aquarius. It's already hitting you. You've got to go study because your chart is about to get your this next 6 months, next 2026 for you
What?
is a very significant year of letting you update and activate your thoughts. Like learning
Okay.
astrology for you would be candy. It's an Aquarian dream.
Wow, I would definitely take that into consideration. No, I really do. I really do
And
because
you
I
and you and we similar, we're similar because you're so practical. I'm not talking theory astrology. I'm
no.
giving you guys an opportunity to apply it to your kids, just as she described, to apply it to your own goal setting.
Yeah.
What's the timing? You're about to have to deal with health. You're going to want to really clean up your diet over the next 6 months. Mark my words.
Yeah.
You're prob-
Absolutely.
you're probably feeling it already.
Yeah. I literally started. I was having this interview. I was swimming. I swam, and then I heard I had a muscle pain on my shoulder, and I said to my daughter, I said, I'm gonna tell her even if I have to scream, I'm gonna mute her and I scream, but I will do this interview.
Is your
Be-
finger hurting?
no, 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 not anymore. It was just like I don't know what happened. It was the pain, but like you said, these are the things that makes us realize that
Isn't that funny that you have no water in your chart and you swim?
yes, yes. Because you know what? When I got my menopause, after that, I just did not want to do anything. I don't like any other exercise. Water is the only thing, and I feel like swimming is like covers everything. That's
And
my
it's good
logical
for
part.
you. It's good for you because you're missing it. So you're bringing yourself. That's what I teach in the book, The Missing Element. Find your missing element and then cultivate it. And going swimming when you're missing water couldn't be better.
Absolutely, because
And
I'm not
also,
a beach person.
and where do you swim? Because I swim too. I'm a swimmer.
I have pool, so I have
Same.
pool in the house, and it just like that's I when I bought the house, I said I have to have a Olympic pool that I can swim. So I want to make sure of
I
that.
love that so much. I have the same thing. I swim. I use water for my exercise, and it's one of my favorite times to meditate.
Okay, so what is your sign?
I'm a
I'm not gonna.
Gemini.
I know what you are, but I want listeners to know.
I'm a Gemini and I have a little fire moon in Aries and Libra rising. I'm double air, so I can talk till my head falls off and I can use my hands and I'm all that. And the sparkles went off when I said that was so funny when the all that confetti came out. The point of the story is my chart is very energetic.
Okay,
It gives me a lot of fire, and I have a team of women that work with me, and I probably drive them all nuts because I have an excessive amount of fire.
you have a lot of energy, right?
Like you.
Yes, but my daughter is Gemini. She's a little bit different than you.
No, of course she is, because there's all the other planets. That's such a good point. Just because you're a sun sign, that's why you have to read about what's your life lesson. Where's your Mercury? And these are simple indicators. Mercury, how do you think? Saturn, what did you come to learn? Those simple things are going to help you so much. So I want you guys to get the book and come take the school. And I'm
Oh, we're
so
gonna
so
connect
glad
the
we
book
did
after, I
this
think.
interview today. This was so sweet.
Yes. If you would have, if you give each zodiac sign a one piece of advice, what would that be?
Good question. You're so good. So, Aries, you have to know when to stop. You have to take a breath and turn on your observer. Taurus, it's okay to go slow. Stop judging yourself for being obsessed with money. Security really matters. It's okay. Geminis, you came in this life to talk and to be funny and to be witty. And if you're not, something's wrong because you've got to have people to communicate with. Cancer, it's okay to stay home and to cook and to play house. And don't feel bad about just being a mom. You love playing house. Why not do it with a pleasure rather than a guilt? Um, Leo, the Leos, you have so much life force and you're so honest and you inspire us. And doesn't matter if people get mad at you, you're here to give us your truth. Virgo, take care of your inner dialogue so you're not so mean to yourself. You can't get it right. You're not supposed to get it right. So why don't you just turn your observer on? And then you'll get lots more done rather than criticizing yourself.
Mhm.
Libra, the indecisive sign of the zodiac, don't make the decision. Just ask somebody for their opinion and then stick to it. Don't ask three people. Just have one person in your life who's an authority that will say, do you think I should do this? And then do it because you're going to spend your whole life. Scorpio, you are deep and you're quiet and it's okay. Don't let anyone tell you you have to talk when you don't want to. Sag, Enjoy your life. You're here to travel and have fun. You're the luckiest sign in the zodiac. Oh my goodness. Have fun. Capricorn, the workaholic. Yes, sir. Get shit done. I can't believe you listened this long to the podcast. Capricorns never listen this long. They got work to do. And good for you for being spiritually ambitious enough to listen to this point. Aquarius, you are here for the future. You're bringing us a new model. Don't feel self-conscious that you don't like the one we got. Your job is to update us and to give us information to bring us into an awakened state. And Pisces, you've had the hardest 2 years. It's over now. 2026 is your year. You're already going to feel a difference. It's been really difficult. You're so sensitive and you're so vulnerable, and that's who you are. So learn to do your spiritual practice, whether it's meditating or yoga or astrology. You've got to insert some spirituality, or you're going to feel like your poor little Pisces has to have a drink.
Love it. I love it. That was so good. Thank you so much. Okay, unfair question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Your favorite zodiac sign?
It's so bad. I think it's
I
Gemini.
know.
I'm always hearing myself say, if only the whole world was run by Geminis, because they make me laugh. So, I have to do humor because this place makes me so sad. So I like humor, and Geminis tickle me from morning to night. I have like my four best friends of 30, 40, 50 years are all Gemini. I shouldn't say
Oh,
it, but it's true. He just wrote, isn't that funny? One of my Geminis just wrote this very second.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I know. I said, listen for the listeners. I said unfair question. I just want to know because you've done this for so long, so I want to know what's your opinion on that is. And my last question to you is that what do you see astrology going from here moving forward with all these technology? A lot of people are like having anxiety over it. How you think the astrology can help them?
I love your questions. Well, AI is certainly interested in astrology and has a very profound gift of giving readings. It's not human, but it certainly has a lot of information. Astrology is timeless. It isn't going to change. It has a very solid base. That's what I was saying earlier. It's
Right.
reliable. So across time, it will continue. AI is going to bring in a higher voltage of being able to synthesize, but nothing compares to you studying yourself and taking the deep entrance into your heart. So don't let AI take you away from our school.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people are like right now freaking out because they're saying that AI is gonna take a. And I always say they can maybe rename your job or take your job, but they can never take the mind of yours, how you think and how you perceive the world, the way you do.
Nobody can do that. Yeah, and it's such an important truth that AI, who I study and I look around it. I don't want to touch it yet. I'm waiting for it because I know it's coming.
Yeah.
But I'm still in love with this, Hawaii. Um, Coming soon to our neighborhood is an interesting new human rendition. Like we're not going to be the same culture. We're not going to have the same matrix. We're not going to be mean. We're not going to be so selfish. We're not going to be so, judgmental. But that's a bit down the road. And AI has the potential to really give us, if it's programmed with kindness, it help us change. If it's not programmed with kindness, it's going to eat us up because it's going to figure out we're not very useful.
Humanity. It's all about humanity, bringing back humanity. Deborah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was so amazing. Thank you for taking the time and educating us about this.
Well, thank you for reading my book. And I'm so glad that you guys are being introduced to it and keep going. Thank you.